The whispers began on the edges of the galaxy, carried by traders, explorers, and the occasional rogue AI. They spoke of an alien entity, a being unlike anything the known universe had ever encountered. It was said to be ancient, a creature of pure energy, capable of bonding with a host, merging its consciousness with another, sharing its vast knowledge and power. But there was a catch. The bond was permanent, and the host had to be compatible. For centuries, the entity drifted through the void, searching. It touched countless minds, Krell warriors, xenobiologist scholars, even the crystalline intellects of the Centauri. None could withstand its presence. Their minds shattered, their bodies burned out, unable to contain the sheer magnitude of its existence. The entity became a legend, a myth, a warning. And then it found her. Dr. Elara Voss was not what anyone would call extraordinary. A xenobiologist stationed on the remote research outpost of Epsilon 9, she spent her days studying microbial life forms on barren moons and writing reports no one would ever read. She was quiet, unassuming, and fiercely independent. Her colleagues called her the ghost because of how easily she faded into the background. But Elara had a secret. She had always felt different. As a child, she would stare at the stars and feel an inexplicable pull, as if something out there was calling to her. She dreamed of vast, incomprehensible landscapes and heard whispers in languages she couldn't understand. Her parents dismissed it as an overactive imagination. Her therapist called it mild dissociation. But Elara knew it was more. When the entity arrived, she was the only one who wasn't afraid. It came during a routine survey mission. Elara was collecting samples on the surface of a desolate moon when the sky suddenly rippled, like a stone dropped into a still pond. The air grew heavy, charged with an electric hum that made her teeth ache. Her team screamed as their equipment shorted out, their comms filled with static. And then it appeared, a shimmering, amorphous mass of light, pulsating with colors that didn't exist in any human spectrum. It hovered before her, radiating an aura of curiosity. Elara Voss, it said, its voice echoing in her mind. You are the one. Her team fled, their fear overriding any loyalty they might have had. But Elara stood her ground. She felt no fear, only a strange sense of recognition, as if she had been waiting for this moment her entire life. What do you want? She asked, her voice steady. To bond, the entity replied. To merge, to become one. You are compatible. You are unique. Elara didn't hesitate. Do it. The entity surged forward, enveloping her in a cocoon of light. Pain exploded through her body, her mind, her very soul. She felt as though she were being torn apart and remade. Her consciousness stretched across eons, across galaxies. Visions flooded her mind. Ancient civilizations rising and falling, stars being born and dying, the birth of the universe itself. And then silence. When Elara awoke, she was alone. The entity was gone, or rather, it was her. She could feel it within her, a presence that was both alien and intimately familiar. Her body felt different, stronger, more resilient. Her mind was a labyrinth of knowledge, filled with secrets that no human was meant to know. But the most profound change was in her perception. She could see the threads that connected all things, the delicate web of energy that bound the universe together. She could feel the life force of every living being, from the tiniest microbe to the mightiest star. She was no longer just Elara Voss. She was something more. News of the bonding spread quickly, carried by the terrified survivors of her team. The Galactic Council declared her a threat, a dangerous anomaly that needed to be contained. They sent ships, armies, even a fleet of AI drones. But none could touch her. Elara, or the being she had become, was unstoppable. She moved through space and time as if they were mere suggestions, her powers growing with each passing moment. She could manipulate matter, bend reality, even rewrite the laws of physics. But she didn't use her powers for destruction. Instead, she sought to heal, to unite, to bring peace to a fractured galaxy. She visited war-torn worlds, ending conflicts with a wave of her hand. She healed the sick, restored barren planets, and even brought extinct species back to life. The people began to call her the Harmonist, a being of balance and unity. But not everyone saw her as a savior. Admiral Yarick Thorn was a man of duty, a soldier who had dedicated his life to protecting the Galactic Union. To him, Elara was an abomination, a violation of the natural order. He saw her not as a harmonist, but as a tyrant, a being who had taken it upon herself to decide the fate of billions. "You think you're a god," he snarled during their final confrontation, "but you're just a human who got in over her head." Elara regarded him with calm, almost pitying eyes. "I'm not a god, Admiral. I am more than I was, but less than what I could be. I seek only to bring balance, to heal the wounds that divide us." "Balance?" Thorn laughed bitterly. "You're playing with forces you don't understand. You'll destroy us all." "Perhaps," Elara admitted, "but I would rather try and fail than do nothing at all." Thorn raised his weapon, a prototype device designed to disrupt energy-based life forms. "Then I'll stop you myself." He fired. The blast struck Elara, engulfing her in a blinding light. For a moment, it seemed as though she had been defeated. But then the light faded, and she stood unharmed, her expression one of profound sadness. "You cannot kill me, Admiral," she said softly, "but I understand your fear. I will leave you now, but know this, I am not your enemy. I am your hope." With that, she vanished, leaving Thorn alone on the bridge of his ship. Elara's final act was one of sacrifice. She realized that her presence, no matter how well-intentioned, was causing more harm than good. The galaxy was not ready for her, for the unity she represented. And so, she made the ultimate choice. She returned to the void, the place where the entity had first found her. There, she released it, allowing it to continue its journey through the cosmos. But she did not die. Instead, she became something else, a guardian, a silent observer, watching over the galaxy from the shadows. The whispers began again, but this time, they were different. They spoke of a being who had given everything for the sake of others, a human who had transcended her limitations to become something greater. And though she was gone, her legacy endured. The galaxy began to change, slowly but surely. Wars ended, alliances were forged, and a new era of cooperation began. The whispers were true. The alien had bonded with a human, and together they had changed the universe forever. Epilogue. Years later, on a small backwater planet, a child looked up at the stars and felt an inexplicable pull. She dreamed of vast, incomprehensible landscapes and heard whispers in languages she couldn't understand. And somewhere, in the depths of the void, a shimmering light pulsed softly, as if in recognition. The bond was not broken. It was only waiting.